What's up, Unlocking Your Inner Strength listeners? How would you like to know how much your time is actually worth in monetary value? And I'll give you a hint. If you don't know this, you're pissing away a lot of your valuable time. Well, I have good news for you. I've put together a special report about time mastery that's normally $45, but since you're a loyal listener to the show, you can get it for only $10 at unlockingyourinnerstrength.com/time.
You're listening to The Inner Strength Show. If you want to step into your greatness, you've come to the right place. Here is your host, the human strength expert, Kyle Newell.
What's up, everybody? Back for another episode of Unlocking Your Inner Strength. This is Kyle from unlockingyourinnerstrength.com. So I'm happy to say that the newsletter is now going on month number 3. That just shipped out. It's usually about 16 pages, cover everything about mind, body, spirit that I'm currently working on or studying. Been getting really good feedback, so definitely check that out. That's under the letter tab at the website. Before I get into today's episode, which is number 44, that means we got about 8 more to go before we're at a year's worth of podcasts. I want to give you an update on something I talked about last week, or actually the entirety of last week's episode. I saw Dr. Getcha yesterday. I had my MRI shortly after I recorded the last episode. We both thought that I had a bucket handle tear of my meniscus. And then I was starting to think I got the ACL in there too, because the leg was really wobbly. Just didn't have a lot of stability, but it was more of just a nuisance than anything. So I spoke with Dr. Getcha yesterday, had an appointment with him. Good news is I don't need surgery. Turns out I had a 5-centimeter popliteal cyst. The popliteal tendon runs up from the calf and it runs behind your knee. A lot of times after trauma to a knee or surgery, you develop these. And mine ruptured within the joint. So that explains why it was presenting like a bucket handle meniscus tear. I couldn't really bend the leg and I couldn't straighten it out. And there was a lot of swelling. A decent amount of pain. So what we did, he drained 40 cc's out of the knee of pus, which is a lot. That's a lot of pus. And that gave me some relief. So that was good news. On a side note, after most people rupture a patellar tendon, they never get to have an MRI after the fact. So it's kind of, you always wonder, what does it look like? Did it heal all right? Well, they had to do an MRI on this knee. And that knee, I ruptured a patellar tendon coming up on 3 years. This fall, but the tendon is twice the size of a normal person's tendon. So that's pretty cool. So you could call that superhuman. You could call it the training protocol. You could call it using the platelet-rich plasma therapy on the tendon, something that me and him had talked about to kind of experimentally do, because they don't do that on patellar tendons. We did it on both of mine, and it could be the way the human body heals. So that's really cool news. So that's that. Today's episode, I'm recording from my office once again. It's about 105 degrees in here, so I'm sweating like a madman. Devin, as of this recording, now by the time you listen to it, we'll have baby number 2. As of this recording, she hasn't had the baby yet, so she's starting to get, a little anxious to get this thing out of her, which I can't blame her. And got me thinking. We had a family fun day yesterday. I did work in the morning when Braxton was taking his nap. Then we went down to the river, and it's always good to connect with nature. But a lot of times, I, like you, don't think I have time to relax, or I don't take the time to put in some real effort into my meditation. 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there, which is better than nothing. And it does only take 17 seconds of visualizing for the nervous system to get the message. So you can do a quick visualization. Something my coach told me last week, Matt Fury, at our Mastermind, was that, how do you know if you're off your path? Well, you cannot be off your path, Matt told me, because it's all your path. The mistakes that you make, the slow pace that you feel that you're moving at, even though it's not slow, you feel like you're off track and you want to get back on track. But when I look back over the past 14, 15 years since I graduated college, everything that's happened to me was part of my path and led me to becoming the person that I am and the coach that I am and the husband that I am. So none of it was wrong. You go through this point in life where you want to speed through things. There's more to life than simply increasing the speed of it. And that was a Ghandi quote. It's one of my favorite quotes. We got to slow down. And when we feel this anxiety of being on the path and having to rush to some destination, and destination, I mean a goal, anxiety rises. We focus on something external that many times is out of our control. And we base everything on, did we hit it? It's a binary question, yes or no. But when we take this approach, you're on a path filled of worry and anxiety. Knowing that it's all your path and there's no race, there's no rush to get there, it's important that we take time to relax. Today, after I dropped Braxton off at his sitter, I went back to the river with a chair and Dax and Matina and a book. I'd already gone for my morning walk, listened to some audiobook stuff. I did quite a bit. It was about 8:30. I got to the river. I made a dedication when I was driving back home from dropping him off that I'm going to start taking this more seriously once again as far as my mindset work. I've been doing good at doing some mindset work every day, but sometimes it's not enough. We don't feel like we have the time because time is limited. The thing is, though, when we think like that, we try to force things. We try to grind through things, and then we get burnt out. And I kind of felt that happening to me. So today I read 20 pages. Then I set the timer. I had my phone on airplane mode, so there would be no distractions, even though the ringer's never on anyway. I set the timer for 30 minutes. Sat facing the river where the ripples were coming down, so I can hear it, I could see it, I could see all the trees and the birds. I did about 10 minutes of visualization, theater of the mind, which I've talked about many times before. Picturing a scene from my life that's already really happened. Today I was thinking about when I won a bodybuilding show, and then I went into when Braxton was born. Two very rewarding and emotional experiences in my life. And the point is, when you do that, you want to drum up your emotions as high as you can. Then I infuse them into a future scene that hasn't happened yet. But I infuse that with all the emotion. And I picture myself going through the process, which we're going to talk a lot about on this episode. And not worrying about the external goal, but worrying about, for me, how many people can I inspire? Or taking the actions every day to inspire people. The process. So I picture myself working on some, unlocking your inner strength. The Rip Dads coaching that I'm doing for clients all over the place now, all over the world. For knee injury patients all over the world. And then I stopped that movie in my head and I meditated for roughly 20 minutes. My mind would drift. I'd bring it back. I'd listen to the water, look at the water. I'd work on my breathing. And I'm so glad I did that today. I'm telling you what, today I got more accomplished and achieved high focus stuff than I have in a long time. And my energy is really good. And I still got a long day ahead of me, which is good. When people say, oh, I had a long day. A lot of times I look at them and say, isn't that a good thing? What do you want, a short day? People don't pay attention to the way they use words. And that's actually another thing, while I'm thinking of it, that popped into my head after my meditation. I'm thinking of a manual of how to live counterintuitively. But that's not correct, because you should always go with your intuition. That's usually right. So how to go against common wisdom? Well, no, wisdom comes from within, a deeper part of your spirit and your soul. You should listen to that. So those don't make sense. I know what people mean when they say counterintuitive or counter wisdom. So just pay attention to the words that you say. I know I'm going off on a little bit of a sidetrack here. What's up, Unlocking Your Inner Strength listeners? How would you like to know how much your time is actually worth in monetary value? And I'll give you a hint. If you don't know this, you're pissing away a lot of your valuable time. Well, I have good news for you. I've put together a special report about time mastery that's normally $45, but since you're a loyal listener to the show, you can get it for only $10 at unlockingyourinnerstrength.com/time. It all comes down to managing your energy and managing how much are you enjoying your life. I've been there before, and I go there frequently where I'm not enjoying my life to the fullest because I'm grinding. Fire, okay? Fire is easy to implement as far as grind and push and push yourself through the wall. And that's my mentality with a lot of things, just from the background I have with weight training and bodybuilding and times in my life when I've had to use extreme willpower. There is a time and a place for that, but water is the most powerful force in nature. Water and wind, but I'm going to talk about water. We always think of the fire side. So literally, I was sitting on the water today, right at the edge of it. A lot of times our greatest ideas come to us when we're around water. And I believe that has to do with the mammalian brain, the midbrain, that needs to connect with nature and connect with mammals. I had, as I said, Dax and Bettina down there with me. And it opens your creative thought. People have talked about it could be the energy or the ions that the water puts off. Whatever it is, it's very meditative for the brain. And we have to be like water. As Bruce Lee said, we just have to flow and go with the flow. And keep an open hand. If you put your hand in a bucket of water and you try to squeeze the water and you pick your hand out, you're not going to have anything. If you make a cup with your hand and you scoop it out, you can drink out of that. If you have a cup of water that's always full, you can't put new water in it. Think about that for your mind and your spirit. You have to dump it out. Continually dump that cup out so you can be exposed to new beliefs and new ideas and a new way of thinking, which is a good thing. It's a higher level of self-awareness, something I was writing about in May's issue of the Unlocking Your Inner Strength newsletter. By the way, there's 5 different types of self-awareness, which I'll make note to cover on one of the upcoming episodes. But it all comes down to making time to relax. You're going to be a better person, a better partner, more creative, more joyful, a better thought leader, a better individual. Once you see the effects of visualizing and meditating and just getting out there, when I say meditating, it could be whatever you want, whatever calms you down, but you got to take time to do it. When you take time to do that, you'll find more time to do it because you're going to start realizing, man, I feel really good. I'm glad I did that. What was different about today? And that to me is really unlocking your inner strength. Physical strength, external strength is good, but the true power comes from within. If you look at how a person like Ghandi defeated the entire British Empire. He did it with nonviolence and no force, no army behind him. How could that be? It was inner strength. David Hawkins, I think he's written 8 books, brilliant doctor, psychologist, wrote Power versus Force. And he talks about the different energy levels and vibration levels of thought patterns. And the highest that we can go is a level of 1,000. The only people that have ever achieved that are people like Jesus or Buddha and other godheads. Most people operate below the level of 200, which is fear and anxiety and worry. So we want to be at the level of 200 or above. Ghandi, I believe, was in this 600 to 700 range. So we have all this inner strength that we haven't not even tapped into, but it's possible to tap into. But you cannot tap into it by trying to access it from the external world and through your fire side. So you have fire and water. Remember that. The last thing I'll finish with today, because I hope that hits home, is that Matt, my coach, Matt Fury, was showing me a video of him doing Tai Chi when I was down in Florida a couple weeks ago. And he says, watch the camera right here. And the guy in our group that was videotaping him the night before, you could tell he didn't have a unsteady hand. It wasn't moving side to side. But when Matt did the finishing move, it was almost like the screen was jumping front to back. So what was that? He said, that was the vibration coming off of me, the energy coming off of me. And if you met Matt, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. He's on a different level as far as what he's accessed within his spirit and his mind. Get near water. Take time to do that. It's going to make you a better, more loving person. I promise it will. And we're going to be back next week. Ladies, you can listen to this episode too next week, because there will be something in it for you as well. But it's going to be about the dads out there, because Father's Day is coming up. And that's been a big focus of mine as far as trying to help dads that have kind of become the forgotten man and become the beaten down man. So that's going to be really cool stuff. Definitely tune in for that. Get on the email list at unlockingyourinnerstrength.com. You should, at this point, be able to download the free audiobook that I recorded for you there. It's about 30, I believe the final cut's about 40 minutes. It touches on mind, body, and spirit. And that's all I got for you. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't had the chance to leave a review on iTunes yet, please do so. And please spread the word. Share this with somebody that you think can use this type of message in their life. And as always, if there's a topic you want me to cover, you can reach out to me. Shoot me an email at kyle@newellstrength.com. Thanks again. Peace.
You've been listening to The Inner Strength Show. If you enjoyed the show, remember to subscribe, rate, and review us in iTunes.